first thing we're going to do is look at the conditions that this first game happened in. So, right off the bat, I'm just going to look at the draft. You've got Jaina on Towers of Doom. Okay, that's generally a really solid pick. I think Jaina is a fantastic climb hero. My sort of like ideal climb hero is just anyone that has wave clear and is good in team fights, because then you can sort of just, you have a really easy time performing your role well and contributing to the team. So love Jaina as a climb hero. And this draft looks really solid. I'm just going to pull up the screenshot that you sent me of when this Jaina was picked in the draft. Let's see here. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, I think I last picked her.
Get it up on the stream. Yo, who is Piman34? We're all Piman34. It's just this person that I'm coaching. They were reaching out in Not Paradox's Discord, I believe, was the place I saw you.
Yeah.
For coaching, and so I offered to do so. Hello, Stealth Ninja. Welcome to the stream. So let me see. This was a last pick Jaina on Towers of Doom. Into that team, honestly, I think this is a really good choice. Your team was lacking wave clear, and this did it for you. Your team didn't really have much camp clear in the 4-man, and that's a really big one that a lot of people underestimate, is camp clear.
And I think the Garrosh, Uther, Tychus, they were a pre-made, so
Okay.
they were like, hey, we want to do this 3 comp.
Gotta love that face. Hell yeah. No, that makes so much sense to me. Like, they have a team comp that's really bad at answering burst. Like, the Brightwing cannot really stop you from bursting somebody down off of, like, the Garrosh combo. And you've got this very straightforward burst chain. Just Garrosh throws in Garrosh cast Groundbreaker, Uther, what's it called? Uther hits him with the stun, the Hammer of Justice, and then you drop your burst combo, just bomb it on your keyboard. I love it. The draft makes sense. You pick something that fills all the holes in your team comp. I'm a huge fan of the Jaina pick here. So going into the game, let's now look at how this game goes, so I can no longer be a huge fan of this.
I think I know. I'm trying to.
So I'm just curious, what MMR is this, by the way? Like, what rank were you at the time?
Probably like gold.
Prepare yourself.
Like demotion game from gold 4 to gold.
Okay, promotion game from gold 4 to gold 5. Let me see here. So you're over here on the right side.
5, 2.
So one big thing that I think is probably going to be the first mistake of the game, this is my prediction right here, is a lot of teams will not think about who wins the level 1, and they'll just both fight mid. Honestly,
Yeah.
Against a Stitches team, I never step up level 1, ever. It's incredibly difficult to beat a Stitches team 1v1. It's super hard to get a kill, and also just being out at all is dangerous. Like, a lot of people think, oh, I can dodge the hook and all that. It's not about dodging the hook, it's about putting yourself in a position where you can't get hooked. And so, honestly, I would probably go straight bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I probably wouldn't even go mid. First of all, your Sonya should be going straight top lane, because again, there's no reason to be mid lane, and the top lane is the solo lane. In case you're unaware, the lane that's like way off on its own is typically the solo lane. And so your Sonya's already in the wrong place, and this is definitely something that you should communicate already. Like, this is the best time to tell your Sonya, like, hey Sonya, you need to be top lane, because this positioning is indicating that they don't know that. And like I said, there's no reason to be fighting here. You will not kill this diva. You probably won't even pop her mech, even with full combo, because she just boosters out. Yep, there it goes. Like, she even took a long time hitting that Q button. And now your burst combo is blown. That's also another big thing about playing a burst.
Real quick.
What's up?
I can't. It's too pixelated on the screen share, so I'm just gonna watch like a 5-second delay on your stream.
Okay.
So you can drop the screen share.
Okay, I got you. Thank you for letting me know. I can also just get you in here, but either way. So let me see here. Like, notice how you have no kill pressure after the kill doesn't work on the diva. And so, okay, the diva just walked back in, but the thing is, you should never play in a way that relies on your opponent messing up. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that you guys were able to pop Diva's mech is an indication that she's bad, rather than anything you guys did right. But again, this is sort of what I showed here. Alaric and Stitches are like the two big do not fight level 1 against these characters. They're super good at killing you from level 1, and also Alaric stacks Sadism off level 1 fights. Like, he can stack his Q quest, his E quest. He didn't go either of those, but still, like, just fighting level 1 against either of those, extremely bad idea. Typically, the way a good team will play the start of Towers of Doom is a lot of times you will put your team up here in the mid lane. One person will be about where I'm showing on the screen right now. Let me get Streamlabs up on my other monitor, make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Okay, so you'll have, like say your team will go in, they'll soak this. If you have like super good wave clear, a lot of times you just come in and you just insta clear this, and then you just rotate down as 4. Or if you maybe don't have that, what you can do is one person goes straight bottom, one person soaks this, and then people interfere with the rotation, with the goal being that you soak this while the enemy team isn't able to come down and soak it. And obviously that's a little over the head of like a random gold game where everybody just kind of like mashes their faces into each other. But you can still apply some of that at the individual level. And so
so recognizing
right now your object is to go straight bottom. If you're fighting at all in mid lane, you're doing it wrong. And I will say,
like after the first fight, or just altogether, like
altogether,
skip that level 1.
You literally from level 1 from this gate should have gone bottom, because again, no point in fighting level 1 versus an Alarac Stitches team.
Yeah.
I will say also, one of the biggest Jaina misplays in the entire game, in my opinion, is casting W on things that aren't minion waves in the early game. I think the only time you should cast W when you're not hitting a minion wave in the early game is if you're getting a kill. If you're ever using it for like poke, like, or on just people that are full health, like what's happening right here, it's a waste of mana and a cooldown. Because early game, all you need is that W. Level 1, W alone doesn't kill the minion wave, it takes WE. I believe level 2 or 3 on, just W alone does it. So
save it for a kill or wave clear.
Yeah, and so like it gets you a little bit of quest progress, but it slows down your macros so hard. Whereas if you came down here, your W is on CD for 5 seconds right now. What you could have done is W'd that, then gone over and tapped.
Got it.
And then it would have been back up. If you had rotated down earlier, you would have gotten the full soak, because you missed like 4 minutes right here.
Right.
And then this is just not respecting Alarac's combo. This death right here.
Okay.
I mean, like, there's not much to say to that other than, like, the reason you were low in the first place was fighting the fight that shouldn't have happened. So, you know, we know what happened there. So now I see that you're coming back to bottom lane. This is exactly what you should be doing. This is good. But, like, already, the poor decision-making from the level 1 on your team is showing in the XP disparity. So now, all you need to do is just drop a W on this minion wave. And that's it. You're good. Actually really like this. So you can Q him. Good. That's all that can really happen right there. Your team is abandoning this, like, for no reason. So, if the enemy team goes, like, really hard on top lane in the early game, that should be a good thing, because on Towers of Doom, by far, the most important lane is the bottom lane. And it's one of
why is that?
So, I'm gonna invite you to look at the map geography really quick. So, controlling the top keep, basically all it really does is control one angle that someone can come into the top altar with, and it's the same thing with the bottom one. Like, you can still reasonably threaten this, the top and mid altars, even if top and mid keep have been taken, like the respective keeps have been taken.
Due to the layout.
Yeah, due to the layout of the map. It doesn't really
located.
stop you. This comp can throw and kill a diva before she presses a button. I mean, level 1, I don't really see the point. And, like, that requires, like, perfect execution. It's gold, and I just don't think there's a point to fighting level 1 versus Alarac Stitches, Fane. I'm talking also to chat, by the way. They raised concerns.
Yeah, no, I'm watching.
So let me see. I just, like, yeah, this team has a lot of level 1 kill pressure, too, but I think versus any good team, they'll never be in a position where you get a throw kill, because they'll be playing for the hook kill. And again, you don't play as if the enemy team is bad, because all that does is teach you bad habits. So that's why I don't think the level 1 fight's worth it, Fane. So anyway, going back to this. So these camps are super important, and also having control of bottom gives you insane control over the bottom turn-in. It gives you more individual control over like any turn-in than any other keep does, just purely from a map standpoint, because the only way to get to bottom without owning that keep is to go all the way around through mid. It adds a ton of travel time, and it's extremely hard to retreat out of.
Got it.
Like, if you're losing a fight...
you can't retreat to your keep.
Yeah, like, if you're losing a fight here, you can just, like, retreat here and you'll be okay. If you're losing a fight in bottom, you have to retreat all the way through here and go through there. Like,
then why did you say it was good if they were, like,
it's good if the enemy team focuses top.
Okay.
Because then that's saying, okay, we can just control bottom. Like, if the enemy team, like, wants to trade, like, you lose top, they lose bottom, you take it every time.
Okay.
It's not good if your team focuses it. And so also that means, like, if the enemy team is showing, like, a lot of times in, like, master games, if the other team is showing, like, 2 people top right at the start, like, at 1 minute, everybody just invades the enemy zapper camp.
Okay.
Because that's just ridiculously impactful. So a lot of times what you'll see comps run is a 1-1-3 on this map for like a few levels, and then so like 1 solo, 3 bottom, because this is just such an important map. And also bot keep offers more control over the mid altar than the mid keep does. So like, it's, I don't know, like, you get control over the sappers, you get control over bot altar, you get control over mid altar. It's ridiculous. What's it called? So a lot of times you see 1-1-3, and a lot of times as the game goes on and the offlaner gets better wave clear, you even see this transition into a 1-4 where you double soak and then 4 bottom.
Yeah, I've double soaked as a Johanna between top and mid, and the rest of the game, basically, my team just hung out.
I wouldn't recommend, like, Johanna as the specific hero for it, but I
It
think
just happened that game.
in a pinch, like, I've double soaked it as Hanzo when I definitely wasn't the one that should have done it just to do it. And it worked. I mean, a lot of things work in Storm League, and again, that's not like optimal, but I do think you can get away with it in Storm League. So let's see here. So again, like, you're the only person that's like in the correct lane, like you and Sonya. If
Can
the other
you
team
go back a couple seconds? So, like, in terms of the trade with Alarak, just in terms of, like, I think I'm still trying to figure out how, like, lane control, or, like, you know, should minions be pushing into the tower, or, you know, like, if it's me and Alarak laning, where should I be trying to get the minions?
Okay, I get
Or
you.
should I just not be trying to fight him?
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to go into, is right now, 1v1 versus Alarak, there's not really a lot you can do. If you step up, you have no way to dodge combo or anything like that. From what I see it, you have every reason to just let this come up to your gate and then kill it there, because you're full health, and then...
So just let him kill his minions, and then...
Because he's going to kill your minions and then bring them all the way to you, whereas you drop to like 40% health here, in a fight that didn't really have to happen, whereas he can't combo you under his, under your gate here, or at least he can't do it as effectively, because then he's got to worry about getting ganked. And it's just a lot safer for you overall.
Okay.
So, yeah. So now this is an unnecessary back that'll cause you to miss a few minions because of that fight. You can't really get anything done here. Like, the thing about these is it's incredibly hard to stop these sappers with damage. Like, you have to sit out here and tank them as they round this corner. Because you can see this one rounds the corner, like the one I'm paused on right here, and it's already locked onto the tower. So you literally have to come tank them up here. And if you come tank this right now, near these enemy 3 characters, you will die, because they'll just walk over and kill you. So these are going to crash. You can't stop them. So as such, casting E on them is just a waste of mana.
Okay.
And honestly, because you weren't going to be able to reasonably tank them, even being around the camp is a general misposition, and you should probably be behind the gate in bottom lane, like over this area.
Can you go back to the moment when they captured it, just to see where I was?
I gotcha. Of course. Hello, Night Night. Thank you for joining the stream. I hope you're doing well. So let's see here. So they capped it right there. So you've still got plenty of time to make the decision about which way to go.
Okay.
So then here again, you're not going to be able to tank it around that corner.
So as soon as I see him cap it, just go behind the gate.
Yep. In a group, you can definitely tank that at the corner. by yourself or with one other person, very dangerous. So now, your job is just to clear this. Again, all it takes is one W. Like, casting Q right there is just a waste of a CD. Oh, no, you're waiting for the minion to crash. Actually, no, this is good. Sorry, my bad. But again, that E right there, complete waste. One W will do it after level 2 or 3.
That's good to know.
Okay.
We must claim them
Let's
first.
see.
And then, so I guess the other thing is talents. I really have no idea, and this is common across all the characters. So if you have any talent suggestions too, please let me know.
Okay. I'll get to that in just a second. I just want to see how close this Garrosh is when you go in on this guy. Because it looks like you're thinking Garrosh is right there. If I slow him, Garrosh can catch up to this no problem. So you keep the slows on him. He even walks back for a second. I think if Garrosh... Like, I think going in on this, if the Garrosh is not here, is an absolute waste. Because you'll never get the kill. Like, assuming Garrosh, like, just was not there right now. But I think that if you're doing this under the assumption that the Garrosh will help you secure the kill, then it's a good idea. Because both of the tanks are top lane. And they can't really save him. Like, so at worst, you bait out Brightwing Z and then you just back off. But Garrosh just, like, didn't help you at all.
Okay.
So, I like that decision making, personally, to go for that kill. Also...
Just better communication to, like, ping the
yeah. I always... That's another thing that I really recommend, is I always tell people, like, ping the target that they're... like, tell people which lane to go to. Ping camps, tell them before time. Like keep it concise. That's also a really big thing. A lot of people either don't talk at all, or they're super chatty. Teams, you can't convince people mid-game. You just make the call. You just say siege camp 1 minute. That's it. You say Sony top. You know, that kind of thing. Really, like, trying to sit there and convince people. I'm really guilty of this. I tend to get frustrated in games and start getting really chatty, and it never works. So anyway, just even pinging right there, that you're going for the kill ahead of time, because you were on him for a solid 8 seconds or so, maybe would have gotten this Garrosh to do it.
Okay.
I think that's a great suggestion there. And so, as Fane has pointed out, also...
I thought it was good after the Blizzard changes.
As Fane pointed out, Arcane Intellect, this is when I see a lot of people going. I think it's part of, like, the W build or whatever that I see people going, which I think is trash, personally.
I think that's what I do.
So this is what has been the correct build in the past, and what I still believe to be the correct build. I recently subbed for a team of former HGC players in Division S, and when they had me pick Jaina for them, I just asked them, is it still the old build, the Globe QQ? And they said, yeah, that's still the good build. So, so the build, to my knowledge, is Globe QQ, like Globe at 1, Q and Q at 4 and 7. And then at 10, you're looking at situational, depending on if you have setup and whatnot, but Welly in most situations, Waterly. 13 is Icy Veins almost always. 16 is typically Root, but I know that the lowered armor is also good too. Then 20...
I take the increased blizzard damage.
Yeah, that one's not particularly great. Because, like, the ones that are going to be hitting most often are the first and the second.
The first one.
Yeah. Then 20, you're upgrading Water Elemental if you took it. Then I believe it's Ice Blink if you didn't take it. Because the Cold Snap upgrade, the Frost Ring upgrade's not that amazing. So anyway, Globe QQ is what you're looking for. I did like the aggression on the Alarak. Should have pinged it. Not a big deal. The next thing is, like, typically there's not this much pressure on the top lane. This is the weirdest setup for the first objective on Towers of Doom that I've seen in a long time. Like, a lot of times you'd see 1 or 2 people in the top lane. Sometimes there's like a 4-man invade as like a gimmick type of situation.
Yeah, but typically it's like take your own and then contest the bottom.
Because, like, if you 4-man, a lot of times the enemy team can just poke it out, grab this really quickly with like a few people, and then everyone else just yeets up really fast. So again, this is a kind of nutty amount of pressure on the top lane. Because it's just, the other one is so deep in that even, like, with heavy pressure, a lot of times it can be hard to secure.
Okay.
So let's see. You guys do rotate down faster than the enemy's team, and that's good. Okay, perfect. Yeah. I probably would have gone down with your team, but now that they've gotten the kill on the Brightwing, you don't need to. Wait, no, they're still going in hard. Okay, the enemy team should have just given it at this point, but the fact that they haven't, this is now a good decision to come down.
Should I have come down sooner? I think that's the thing I struggle with macro-wise in terms of like when do I soak versus when do I.
Yes, I definitely would have come down sooner. Like, I think you should have come down that whole time before the Brightwing died.
Okay.
And then once the Brightwing died, I don't think you necessarily needed to come down. I think you needed to be nearby, because the enemy team shouldn't have even contested it at all once their support went down. But they still did anyway, and so once they did anyway, that was when you needed to come down. Like, for instance, right here, I would just W this wave and just start going. Because, again, one W kills the wave, so there's zero reason to stick around.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something you know now. Like, yeah, like the difference is you either stick around for the globe, which will get killed on the second or third wave, which means you rotate like 4 or 5 seconds slower. Not that's exaggeration. But like,
but am I choosing to stay for the globe?
I'm saying you choose to rotate faster over the globe in this situation, in my opinion. You just drop the W and leave, and this means. So then also here's another problem that I have. Typically, with Jaina gameplay,
the way I went there.
No. It hasn't happened yet. It's about to. So, because of the way Frostbite works, I always joke that Jaina, you just vomit on the keyboard on one enemy hero, and this makes you a Grandmaster player. And the problem here is that you split your abilities up a bit. So you freeze the D.Va, you hit her with E. First of all, I probably wouldn't hit the D.Va at all with that. Like, I think you might have been going for the double hit on the Alarak and the D.Va.
Yeah.
But unfortunately it was unsuccessful in hitting the
Also,
Alarak. What's up?
I think after playing this game, I learned that you could shift to Q abilities.
I typically don't. That's typically not relevant for my Jaina play. But I know a lot of people, like, I use shift in combat a lot less than a lot of other players do. So it's entirely a preference thing, in my opinion.
I think I was trying to hit both of them from there.
So generally, D.Va is a really low priority target. Like, in terms of if you can hit her or the Alarak, you hit the Alarak every time. Like, if D.Va's just in front of you, and you can pop the mech for free, then of course, you know what I'm saying? But like, if you have to choose D.Va or someone else, it's the someone else almost every time. So anyway.
What about like the vomit combo? Like, should I be starting with an E?
You just start with the thing that's low damage typically. Like, in terms of what mathematically puts out the most damage, you start with the thing that deals the least damage, because you want the things that are buffed to come second. You know what I mean? Because if they're already chilled and they take 50% more damage, then you want the thing that does more damage to be amplified, you know? Because you're getting a bigger boost out of it, and the thing that does the least initial damage is W.
Like, the first... Are you thinking like per tick, right? Like,
one because
W compared to one hit of
yourself? Yes. Okay. Because I'm just saying mathematically, you're getting more damage boost if you open with a W. And you never want to open with Q, concerning the talents. Right? Yes, after Iceland. So this is after 7. You can open with Q, but I mean, even after 7, a lot of times you can open with Q at range, or also because it's a very low commitment ability. Like, you can keep tossing Qs until one hits, and then decide to go in all burst. So you do actually open with Q fairly often. But in this situation where you're basically guaranteed to hit it, it's because they're focusing this guy, so it's extremely predictable positioning. You can just open with a W. But my issue here is that the abilities aren't all going on the same place. Like, you have a target that's chilled, you have a target that should be focused, and then the W's not on either of them. And the W could even be on both of them, really. So again, I think the D.Va's low priority, and this E should have gone on the Alarak instead. And then again, the vomit, that was what I was getting at earlier. The vomit is about stacking everything on somebody, and this is very spread, just to make use of Frostbite. So this all should be on the Alarak right now. You toss WEQ on this Alarak, and he's dead right now. Like, that alone should easily kill him just based on the feel of it. He's at what, 1276 health right now, and I'm just curious. I just want to do this math for myself. 180 plus 180 plus oh god, 233 plus 233 times 0.5 that's like 350. So you're looking at
It'd be like 1,000 damage or so.
yeah, like he's at minimum sitting at like 300, 400 health right now, and you just finish him off super fast. Either way, like getting Alarak to 200 does a lot more because it basically takes him out of the fight versus like this getting D.Va and mech, which isn't like super relevant.
Yeah.
Although she's kind of just inting to your Sonya anyway, like she stood in the middle of your team in pilot form, which again is the fault of the other player and doesn't actually dictate what the correct play is.
Okay.
So let me see here. I'm not sure where you're going right now.
Probably bad pathing.
Yeah, like I'm just wondering, like you always want to sort of have a goal of like, what am I doing? Like, what's my contribution right now?
I think I didn't want to contest.
I mean, you guys definitely win this up a person now. And a lot of times, the philosophy that'll take you far as a ranged DPS player is just hit the person that's most out of position.
Okay.
So I'm looking at this right now, and the person that's most out of position by far is this Stitches player. The Alarak is looking to become a contender, but right now it's the Stitches. And if you were in there, you could have killed him a little earlier. You can now kill the Alarak. I mean, your teammate
So it's
got
just
him anyway.
taking someone out of the fight.
Yep. And so you now kill this guy. Overall, my only like you did all right there, and your team definitely played very well in this fight. I think it's more the enemy team playing poorly, but just I don't like the indecisiveness right
That
here.
makes sense.
Like I think you should already be going on the Stitches, and you're just kind of like dancing around.
Like right after being
Yeah.
Okay. So another ping communication.
Oh, and then also this is another thing to keep in mind with any zone area ability is you want to minimize how much of it is wasted on terrain. So I'm specifically referring to your blizzard right here. When you go on this Brightwing, a solid quarter of the surface area of this blizzard is contained within the turn-in area. Like it's impossible for a quarter of this to do anything. So you're kind of just hurting yourself right here. This same blizzard could cover the same area, but it would cover this entire pathway if you just moved it to about where my
right,
cursor
okay.
is. Yeah. Just consider like that sort of dead area of it.
Okay.
It's much better to fill the area because no matter if the Brightwing is all the way to the right, all the way to the left in that little area, it's still gonna hit her. Luckily, she just walked into it, and then got her. A little bit of indecisiveness. Overall, the fight worked out really well. So again, you're recognizing that the lane to be in is the bottom lane. I love it. Another unnecessary E on the wave, but you didn't know. Hello, Abby Cat. Thanks for joining us. I love that you went to this camp right away, and it looks like you pinged it too. Yep, Jaina's on their way to Sapper Camp. This is beautiful. Whenever I'm playing... oh, you see, this blizzard could definitely hit all three. If you just put it on the campfire is also a thing on some other maps too, like on a Dragon Shire, the Siege Giants, there's a campfire in between them. You just hit
That's
the
a
campfire.
good indicator.
Yep.
Okay.
Super easy. And so then you would have DPS'd the other Sapper a little faster. It would have bought you like a second. And with that second, maybe this D.Va doesn't get there in time to potentially interfere. Because if the other team was more coordinated, that second can mean the difference between getting a camp or not.
Tapping and dying, yeah.
Yep. Okay, love it, love it. Oh, that was a really smart W right there, while the mech was breaking, so that it was timed really well to hit her as soon as she got out. I love that.
We'll say it was on purpose.
Okay, that was overall pretty good right there. Let's see. Q, walk up, W in his path, another Q. Okay, so there's one thing I'm noticing from how you fight with Jaina that's a little inefficient. So let me see here. And it's
Talking about the Alarak right here.
It's with the D.Va too, I noticed it. You need to be moving forward in between your ability casts, like while you're just waiting. Because like you cast E, this D.Va's going to run away. Like, you know for a fact, just based on the information that's available to you, her team is not nearby enough to help you, or to help her. She's walking away, which would indicate that she isn't here ready to contribute. Or she's not here to contest it seriously. So...
She's just poking.
Yep. And so she's like, oh crap, I can't do this. Just based off all the information that you have, team mid, she's backing out. She's not here to stay. She's going to run left every time. You need to be keeping up with her. which means like chasing after her a bit between attacks. Because watch your positioning between each cast. She starts to get away from you for a bit, like here. So watch. You E, and then you run to the right, and again, as we've stated, she's going to run to the left, and so you're like making yourself outrange her.
Do you
So
think?
now,
Can you like toggle Fog of War? Because I can't remember what I saw at that point.
so
Like I didn't
this
know if
is no
anyone
Fog
else
of War.
besides Diva was in the bush.
Yep, this is just a map awareness thing, I think, because you can tell that these Stitches and Alarak are mid for a while before this.
Okay.
A solid 10 seconds, like, because B goes back 10 seconds.
So they're not going to be in the bush.
Yep. So, I think, and also the camp is the easiest time to watch the map while you're doing a camp.
That makes sense.
So then, if this was just proper map awareness, you would know there's 0 to fear if you step up here. So again, Q, and while you're waiting for your CDs, you're just kind of standing here. And so that leads her to get
So
really
just
far away.
moving towards the direction she's going.
Yeah, and so then you end up with this really long shot right there. That wasn't necessary. She should have been a lot closer. Wasn't relevant on the Diva kill because she kind of inted into your team, but it's a lot more relevant on this Alarak kill. It's because the same thing happens. So you Q,
Yeah.
then right here you E, and then you just stand there. Let me see. And then you stand there for a little bit more. You only want it 4Q. The only you want to be 4Qs if you're trying to proc Ice Lance, but that talent is not a thing this game. Yep. We've gone over all that, fam. What's
Also,
up?
I have Ice Fury Wand.
Yeah. You can still, like, move forward between every cast and every auto attack more efficiently than what's happening right now. Okay. Because, like, right there, you canceled an auto attack. Let me just point out the specific instance.
Like right there.
No, it's on the Alarak kill.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're watching on a delay. So, you...
It's like after I Q and then move forward and then move forward and cut off an auto.
Yeah, you walk up, you start to auto, and then you just... I assume you cancel it based on you, like, swiping your staff forward. There you go, that was a good auto attack weave right there. Here, there's like this long pause for some reason. And that's what causes you to have to take a long shot, and just minimizing the distance that you have to take on skill shots is always good.
Okay.
So again, there's a lot of pausing right here. Not super relevant, but it's just something to keep in mind. Like, you're doing a lot of standing still between abilities. Even just moving back and forth just makes you harder to hit with skill shots and whatnot.
Okay.
It's always better than standing still.
I think I'm better about remembering to do that on ranged supports, since I mostly play support, but
Okay,
I
so
think
this is...
leaving auto attacks in still.
You definitely should be at the objective here.
Okay.
So let me see. So what I thought you were going to do, and what was probably the correct call, is literally just drop a single W on this and leave. Like, you can W it, tank it to keep it in place on the wave.
So don't even try to fight them.
You'll never kill this Brightwing, like, ever, because, look, she just walks into her minion wave and gets away. So all you really wanted to do was go up, W the wave, tank it so that it stays in your W, because if you W it and leave and it has nothing to hit, it'll just walk through it. So you could have W'd this, left as soon as the wave was dead, and then gone down. Because if this Brightwing's smart, what she does is she just hits that tap right there. Yeah, she even has it too. She hits that tap, she Z's down. Oh wait, no, your team's 10 down. Never mind. I'm done. Your team actually hit 10 faster than I expected. You're completely right to stay up here. Let me see. But now you have to go. And it looks like you're going at a good time. Okay, so this is another thing. Water Elemental. You only take Ring of Frost if you have setup for it.
Just bad with microing the elemental.
Sorry, what? Which is bad with what?
I'm just bad with controlling the elemental, so I think
honestly,
in a pinch I just pick the other.
No, I understand. It's easy to just kind of fire and forget with the Ring of Frost. But basically, it's like the way you get good with it is by using it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, how do I put it? Your team, again, as we discussed in the load screen, is all about just getting that burst kill. Water Elemental helps with that a lot.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Let me look at it. Yeah, like, it's just more burst on someone, and also this is a very, like, team fight oriented ability. or not team fight, sort of AoE oriented ability. It's not really suited to how your team wins fights, which is just singling out a person. So let me see here. You show up to this fight. We're not going to talk about that one. Let's see.
I misclicked.
Don't worry about it. Ooh, so that's a bit of a waste of a W because he was in Chromie's time trap right now. It's gonna need to just back off here. You'll never kill a Stitches at full health, and he can threaten you. Oh my god, your Sonia's a madman. Also, I don't know why your team held D-Shield until right then.
I don't know either.
So I definitely think you could have gone down faster. And I also think that it should have been Water Elemental. I also think your team should have just...
From top lane?
Yeah, from top lane to objective. Let me see.
So I think, in that case, like, do you want to go back to when it's me trying to 1v1 right wing, and like, how do I recognize when is that time to go down? Because
Okay.
I think it's 4v4, and then someone dies on the blue team.
So a lot of times, assuming there are like no camps
Especially
pushing,
if we have a heroic advantage.
What's up, Fane? A lot of times there are like no camps pushing, nothing like that. See, like the problem with this is that it's so far away. Like if it was mid lane, if you were soaking mid lane, I would 100% agree. But it's so far away. I just need to go back and look at the situation again.
Do you happen to know offhand, like, the time for when the objectives come?
It's based on how long it's been since the last objective. Is the thing. The first objective starts at 3 minutes. Every objective in this game starts at either 1:30 or 3 minutes. And I think on almost all of the maps it's 3 minutes. And then all of the objectives after that are not based on game time, but how long it's been since the last objective finished. Okay, we still gotta go further back. Jeez. Okay, let's see. So you guys... Okay, so right here, this is where I would say there's not much reason to stay.
Correct.
So this is where I would say to leave and go down and soak mid lane. It's not your job to soak top lane. But you do it anyway. This is also a really good time to leave as well. Because you say, like, I would even say this is a good decision if you say, okay, team's not coming up to soak this, I'll soak out the wave and then I'll leave. So I like this decision to stay until here. But I think now, 100% the time to leave. Because there's an objective spawning, it's already up, you have this big prio on the wave, and you're already going to hit 10 anyway. Like, to put it in perspective, think about what contribution you're bringing to the team by staying
would we have
here.
Would we have hit 10 if I didn't stay?
I'm talking within the last 10 seconds. So let me see here. So right here, clearing this wave. Again, this wave is good to clear. Right here. This is the decision making that I'm talking about.
Okay.
You staying after you've cleared this wave does not give any bonus XP. The minions are already dead. So again, staying top, all it really does, because if you stay here and you just hard push, it'll still take you a while to kill this fort, long after this fight ends. The enemy team shouldn't contest because they're down 10, but they do anyway, and it works. Like, even without Tychus, or no, they have Tychus, sorry, it's just a UI bug. Yeah, no, like, you need to come down just in case there's a fight down here. The enemy team shouldn't fight, but they might fight if they see you top lane and they know that they can force a 5v4, especially with how pick-oriented their comp is. So anyway, right here, there's nothing else to get. You're not going to take the top fort, and there's no minion wave for you to clear, so there's literally no reason to be top lane. Like, that's the really easy way to determine if you should leave the lane, is just what am I contributing by staying in this lane? And the answer is right now basically nothing. Like, you might get a tower if you stay in lane, and that's it.
Selected talents.
Because you don't clear that minion wave and then you come down. So you could have been down here probably a solid 10 seconds earlier, and there's a decent chance that this fight goes much better for your team if you were to save it earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I appraise my own decision making, is just, if I go, what do I bring to the team? If I stay, what do I bring to the team? And a lot of times, Like, staying there brings nothing. So let me see.
Okay.
We've already gone over this fight. This is really weird. Okay. The enemy team just kind of let themselves die there. I don't know what to say about that. So this is a bit of an overstay. Oh my god, I hate this boss call so much. This is actually a terrible boss call.
With 2 people down?
Yes.
Okay.
So, the important thing about boss is that early game, the boss doesn't really do a lot for you.
Yeah, it's only 4, right?
It's 4 shots. Like, the difference between being at 32 shots and being at 28 shots, you're in basically the same position to win the game as you were. The difference in being down a bot fort and not is insane. So what your team should have done with this advantage, 100%, is go down and start winning this bot fort. Like, your Sonya can soak this wave. You guys all leave. Like, you should have already left and started this camp over here. And then you guys escort the camp into bot. Yep.
Okay.
And then Sonya just soaks it out. Like I said, boss just doesn't really help you win. Like, luckily the enemy team kind of ints. But again, shouldn't base your decision making around enemy mistakes. Again, like, this doesn't really have... Like, think about it. After... Assuming the enemy team doesn't just feed for no reason, after you take this boss, you're not really any closer to winning the game.
Right.
I don't know. Like, 4 shots... Like, think about it this way. Do you play card games, Hearthstone, at all?
I have in the past.
Okay. So, like, I would...
Like, all life matters, or doesn't matter except for the last one.
Exactly. Like, I would compare going for early boss to, like, a Hearthstone play where, say, at the start of the game, like, you have the option to, like, Frostbolt an enemy minion and clear it, or just the enemy face for 3 face damage.
And I go face.
Yeah. Like, this is going for face, is what this play is. Whereas bot control puts you in such a greater position to win the map, because now, if you guys had taken bottom right before this, you basically guaranteed win both of these objectives. In that you pretty much guaranteed win the bottom one. Contesting the bottom one through the enemy fort con and the middle one being up, nearly impossible. Contesting the middle one, very difficult. So that alone would have already made probably more difference in score, which again doesn't matter until it's done, than the boss play.
Potential 10 to 4.
Yeah. Like, that would have been 10 shots right there. Like, it's nearly guaranteed.
Okay.
So let me see.
Sense.
Fane, yeah, no, that's ridiculous. This map is 100% about controlling bottom. Let's see here. So again, the boss call, hate it so much. This would have been guaranteed. Right now you need to join the team on the objective. Again, like, the only reason you should be not at the objective, doing the objective, like, just default to going to the objective. The only reason you wouldn't is when you specifically have to clear a camp. Like on Battlefield of Eternity, this is a really big one. You know the Bruiser camp that keeps summoning the dogs?
The shaman?
Yes. That camp needs to be cleared. It takes an extremely long time for that camp to die on its own, so you send somebody to clear it. So a lot of times when there's a Bruiser camp, you have 3 defend, 1 clears it, 1 soaks the other lane. Because if you're not going full offense anyway on BOE, then you're just gonna soak the other lane anyway. So, like, a lot of times the only reason you wouldn't be at the objective is if you shouldn't be fighting over it at all.
Right, if you're giving it up.
Yep. You're clearing a camp and then you're going to come, or you have like a global. Because
and then you're just...
Yeah, and then you're trying to cheat out as much XP as possible and then fly in. None of those were the situation right there.
Correct.
So you should have just gone straight in. Seeing this gigantic blizzard makes me want to stab you. I'm sorry. This build is so bad.
Look how much surface area I can hide from terrain.
So you get it anyway. And you know where you go after this? Wait, you canceled. So this is actually where I use shift a lot. Is when I'm capping an altar, I shift Z.
Okay, yeah.
Because then you'll mount up as soon as it's done, because there was even a little gap right there after you finished. It's just a tiny little
I don't think I do
optimization
about
thing.
shift.
So, yo, I love that you went straight to this camp, though. I said that was the right call, and it was. Like, in really high-level games, this camp gets taken on cooldown. As much as possible. Every single time it's up, you take it. They buffed the Blizzard talents 2 patches ago. Yeah, they're still not worth Runestream. You still go the old build, if you ask me. But yeah, I shift Z whenever I'm channeling, like, anything. Okay, so the next biggest thing, again, like, ideal situation, you have minimum 3 people in the bot lane. The fact that you're going mid... I don't know, the fact that Sonya's bottom is, first of all, garbage. The fact that you're going mid, I'm not a big fan of it, because you should be escorting these sappers, because, again, this map is about bot lane control. If the other team wants to be in the other lanes, screw it. They can have the other lanes. We have bottom. Exactly. Luckily, enemy team is garbage. Let's see. So we go to... Oh, wait, no, you're still here. Honestly, at this point, the team could hypothetically 4-man bottom while you double soak, because you're the only person that can, like, realistically double soak on your team.
Okay.
And that would be a very realistic play, but this is something that you would have to communicate. This is never something that a team will, like, do on its own.
Just randomly do, yeah.
You can say, I double soak 4 bot. You have to say both of those things. I double soak and 4 bot, or else the team's not going to know.
Okay.
That's all the way up to Grandmaster, that's true. Teams will not do the right thing just on their own. You have to communicate it. And like I said, keep it concise.
Yeah.
I know people that are out here typing paragraphs. Okay.
Yeah, I try not to type.
So, here's another time where we're going to talk about the decision on if you go to the objective.
Go or not. Okay.
Sonya went W build, she can double soak. Oh, you're right. But she's a boosted animal? Yeah, whatever. So what was I saying? This is another time we're going to talk about whether it's necessary to go to the objective or not. Your team controls bottom, which, as we've discussed, gives you an insane amount of control over this altar. And they have a person dead.
And we're 2 talent tiers up.
Yes. Like, even if you're on the same talent tier, they shouldn't contest this. But you add in 2 talent tiers up? Absolutely. So, there is no reason. They should not need you at all. If they somehow throw this, I would be amazed. They should enter into Olympic shot put if they're able to throw this. So you don't need to go to that. You could have definitely hit all of these minions with this blizzard. I'm ashamed of this. What is this?
With the increased size too.
Yes, like this could have easily. Okay. So anyway, now you need to double soak this out, because again, this is guaranteed. They don't need you down here. They really don't. You could be going top lane and dropping a W on that, and you would be fine.
Okay.
Because again, Towers of Doom, people think that Towers of Doom is about shots, which is why they take early game boss. Towers of Doom is about 2 things. It's about bot lane control and experience. Those 2 things decide Towers of Doom games.
Okay.
And so you get like 12 minions or whatever it was up there, and you W that all insta-clearing it, especially with the increased radius. Boom. That's like that just cements your lead even further. Very intelligent usage of the ice block here. Oh, and I love the sidestep. That was a beautiful sidestep. I will say, just as someone that's generally pretty decent about dodging things, there's one thing I will say about this sidestep. I love the ice block, and I love that you W first. Okay, so you sidestep to the right. This guy will never expect you to sidestep into here. Literally never. He might expect you to run away, because like that's like a normal play to make. He will literally never expect it if you walk into this divot right here. And that's just part of sidestepping. Like, sidestepping a lot of times is about taking hard 90-degree turns and just going, like, perpendicular to the player. Which is exactly what you did. And that play worked perfectly, and will work perfectly. I just think the other 90-degree angle is generally going to just have a slight bit more advantage. But that's like a dodge pattern thing.
Yeah, and I guess logically it's like, oh, you're on the defensive, you're going towards your towers, so, like, going to the left towards theirs is counterintuitive.
Yep.
Okay.
A lot of, like, really, really high-level dodge play is just doing stuff that looks so alien to the other players in terms of, like, your movement.
Okay.
Oh, and also, going piercing Q at 7 really helps you take these camps, like, because you can hit 2 of them at a time, over and over. So you just clear them, like, super fast. Again, just W is all you need. Okay, from this point on, you don't need to do anything else with this. Actually, wait, you can secure this. Never mind. I didn't realize how much you were controlling the rest of the map. I said that without looking. This is 100% the correct call to finish this off.
Try to take that top turret.
Yep, love this decision. And you got it.
6, I think.
Perfect. Yep. E6 cap. This boss is actually pretty good because it's right next to you. A lot of times, really good shot calling advice, especially because they're starting to get low. Boss is more effective the lower health the enemy team has, because it starts to force them into desperation positions.
Right. Which I think is what happens.
Where they have to win every single one or else they lose.
At a disadvantage.
And you're just next to it anyway. But like really good shot calling advice that I heard is do what you can with what you have where you are. And right now, your enemy team is right next to boss, and there's not much else to do. I love the decision to take this boss right here.
You're saying from the enemy team's perspective?
No, from your team's perspective. Like, the fact that you guys... Like, if you guys were down here, maybe you just focus bottom hard, but, like, the fact that you're all right next to boss means it's just a good idea just to do it.
Okay.
A lot of times, just doing the thing that you're all next to is generally a pretty good idea. Unless you're, like, deep out of position. But then you have bigger problems. Let's see. Drill isn't even tanking the boss, low. Nice. Why does Tychus use Drill as a ward? Oh, I see. I wasn't even looking at the Tychus, to be honest with y'all. I think you should be DPSing this. Like, you can always go to this later. They have 2 dead for 30 seconds. Like...
DPS the tower?
The fort, yeah. Because now your enemy team has to stay a little bit longer... Oh, and you cap this before they finish this. Because look, it went up to 5 shots. And you only shot 4 at the enemy core. So now the game would be over with that cap right there. It's not going to matter, because you obviously win the game right here. But if you had waited like 3 seconds more on this bot cap, then you would have won after 2 caps. And just if you can win in 2 caps instead of 3, even if you would win anyway, like you should take it. You know what I mean? And also just if you stayed mid to DPS it a little more, then it would have happened even faster. But of course, up to 2-3 people, you guys are gonna win this anyway. But it's just like I would take the 110% guaranteed win over the 100% win. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Overall, pretty solid game. I'd say the big one is just after level 1, so level 2 and onward, you only need a single W to clear waves.
And learn when I need to show up at objective.
Show up to objective as a default, unless you're giving it, or you guaranteed have it, or you have like a global, or you're like clearing something that needs to be cleared, and you're nearby. That kind of thing. So overall, I think you definitely could have gone to the objective more. And also, take camps on Gul'dan. Like, straight up, those camps are busted. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Moving on to game 2. Aristotle would say it's well developed and good habits. I don't know if you need
to watch the Gul'dan one, because it was, like, my first Gul'dan game.
Okay. Sure. Okay. If you don't think it's a fantastic idea, then sure. So I believe you said this was the first pick?
I don't even remember.
Okay. Don't worry about it. These are some of the same people in this game.
Oh, no. I think what happened was I was going to play Jaina, and they banned her the second round of banning, so I picked Gul'dan.
Okay. So, hello, Lord Boo. Thank you for joining us. What I will say about this map in particular, that I think a lot of people don't know, is that wave clear is relatively unimportant on this map. You need range DPS. No, you need poke.
I misspoke. I think it was... I wanted to take Li-Ming, but then they stole their last pick, and so I picked him.
Okay. So wave clear is relatively unimportant on this map, and a lot of range DPS characters are good because of how much wave clear they provide, and they're kind of bad on this map. Like Gul'dan, Jaina, Junkrat are the big ones that come to mind. I love to pick these heroes. I hate to pick them on this map. This map is where you pick the heroes that are good at fighting and good at poking, that maybe don't have the best wave clear. So you're talking about stuff like Tracer, Li-Ming, Vala, Greymane, you know, like that kind of thing. Raynor. So again, if they don't have Li-Ming, Gul'dan is probably not the choice. Like, again, just pick another... I'm going to pull up the Heroes Hearth list of heroes off the top. We're gonna look at this real quick. God, my connection is so slow. So let me look at the game. Li-Ming, Raynor are taken. You don't even want me to play an auto attack hero? That's funny.
It's not pretty.
Okay, so instead of those two, it probably would have been a better idea to do any of the following. Let me see. You got Genji, because you already have a ranged DPS. Genji, Greymane, Hanzo. Li-Ming was gone. Do they have a bad support into Lunara? They have Ana. Lunara would have worked too.
No idea how to play any of those.
It's okay.
Except Hanzo, kind of.
Sylvanas is insane on this map.
No, never played her before.
Is Tychus good into this enemy team? Not really, no.
So what I'm hearing is I need more.
Tracer, Vala, or Zul'jin. So yeah, like specifically in terms of just being able to play ranged DPS on BOE, you don't really want to play the ones that are like super good wave clear, but instead you want to play the ones that are more about poking and fighting. So you're gonna need like at least more than Li-Ming, just if you want to not be in these awkward situations where you have suboptimal picks on BOE.
I've been trying to practice Greymane, so I think he might be a good option.
Okay. Yeah, no. I think Greymane is a really dependable option because he's good in a lot of drafts, and also he's like almost never going to be banned out. You can count on him being out. Nazebo, I find him surprisingly decent here. I think Nazebo's just good at winning Storm League. I don't think Nazebo's good at competitive, but I mean, you don't have to worry about competitive until you're Grandmaster. And by then, you'll be good at other heroes anyway. Let's see. So, don't really like Gul'dan on this map. That's just something to think about for the future. We can go ahead and move on to the second game, though. I think I've said my piece.
Yeah.
I thought he was a never pick, but then Chris picks him on this map. Oh no, guys. Okay, no, I'm just gonna address this first in the chat. This is a view that Cavalier Guest and I both had, and we talked about quite a bit personally and on his stream, and it's that there's basically no such thing as a never pick. This game does a really good job of diversity, and a lot of times heroes not being worth picking is actually an issue of you haven't practiced it or they're like super niche, but almost every hero has a niche where they're really good. It's more just about like some heroes, their niche is so rare that it's not worth practicing, and then you don't pick them. But like, I don't know. I'm not really sure there's like any never pick. Like, in terms of just like this hero has no viable situations whatsoever. I don't think there's any hero like that in the game, especially, and that's talking about coordinated. That's talking about at the HGC level that used to exist, which doesn't anymore. It's talking about coordinated. In uncoordinated, it's especially true. You've seen people play Probius to number 1 GMNA. Like, just, I don't know. I don't like when people say, like, something's like a never pick. Because, like, with enough practice time and understanding, like, everything has a viable situation.
Yeah, there was, like, that level 600 Murky.
Okay. Let's go on to this Dragon Shire Li-Ming game.
So,
what's up?
Draft for this one was... The draft for this one, but I think it was Diablo and then Blaze and Johanna on the other team. Anduin and Tychus.
I'm pulling up the image right now on the stream.
Okay.
Alright, let's take a look here. We have Tracers and Everpick. Yep, seems good, T-Shives. Rutgers won with Gazlo. This is very true. Gazlo is a good pick on Volskaya Foundry. Like, I'm not even kidding. Now, I'm not saying you can one trick. Like that's a completely different thing. I'm not saying something is always viable. There's a big difference between there's no character that never has a viable situation and one trick. Those are entirely different statements. What's it called? Simply Heavy says, help, I'm getting PTSD. Yikes. Um, God. I'm sorry. That's just hilarious. Okay. Moving on to the actual coaching in hand here. Okay.
I support the Bright Wing one trick.
So let me look back at your message. At what point in this draft did you pick the Li-Ming?
I picked Li-Ming the last time
on your team. So
we went first.
Your team had the first pick, and you
picked
picked it
Li-Ming
with
into-
Artanis.
Yeah, I picked it into Blaze, Johanna,
Okay.
Gul'dan, Lily.
So I'll tell you the very, very first thing that sticks out to me is you guys are going to get murdered on wave clear.
Mm-hmm.
Li-Ming does not give a team a lot of wave clear in a game. So they definitely have very strong anti-auto attack. Auto attacking is not the answer with 3 blinds on them. But I'm just looking, and Johanna, strongest wave clear tank in the game. Blaze, very heavy wave clear offlaner. Not very heavy, but decently heavy. Gul'dan, one of the highest wave clear range DPS characters in the game. So if you don't go a wave clear hero, the enemy team can beat you basically without ever fighting. All they do is they just clear the camps before you guys do, and while you guys are still clearing, or the waves, sorry, while you guys are still clearing the waves, they just go do the camps. And then because you guys have bad wave clear, you aren't even going to be able to clear the camps. And so then while you guys are stuck clearing the camps, they get the Dragon Knight, you lose the game.
So again, at like they first picked or they locked in Blaze and Johanna. So at that point, like, is that the point where I should have been like, okay, we need wave clear to keep up with their wave clear?
It's not even so much about keeping up with theirs. Like, it's especially a problem because they have so much, but you should never have this little wave clear on Shire in the first place. Almost every map, you need at least some decent source of wave clear. This is the kind of draft you would see on Battlefield of Eternity. Because, again, that's a map where wave clear is relatively unimportant. So here, not a big fan of it. Like I said, just too little. And so a lot of times that's the thing I'm thinking about to myself as a ranged DPS main, because you get 2 DPS slots in a team typically, and then the others are heal tank off lane. So the other DPS, if he's not going wave clear, and we don't have a Johanna, or like even a Stitches has okay wave clear for tank. We don't have that Johanna though. We don't have a good wave clear other DPS. I have to pick something with wave clear. And so a lot of those are auto attackers. And so then you go and you look at the enemy team and you say auto attackers are off the menu. What can I pick in place of that? And you've got some options. So let's see here. You want to pick a mage wave clear. Big one, Kael'thas. That's banned out right there. Another big one, Gul'dan. That's taken right there. Let's see. Jaina. This is 100% Jaina. I think without question, Jaina is the pick. But let's say you hypothetically can't play Jaina. Even Orphea would be okay. Orphea doesn't have stellar wave clear, but I think she's better than the vast majority of ranged assassins in this situation. Probius, not even kidding, would be decent here.
I feel like Nazeebo or Sylvanas also.
Nazeebo would work. Sylvanas, in her current iteration, actually leans a lot more on auto attack damage than you would think.
Okay.
So, like, I actually think of Sylvanas with the correct build as a pretty significant auto attacker. Or at least with the build I prefer. There is a build with minus armor at 13 that doesn't lean as hard on auto attacks, but I don't think it's that good in Storm League because minus armor is better the more people are focusing a target, and target focus is non-existent in Storm League. So the Storm League build leans on auto attacks, so no Sylvanas. But looking at this list, Kael'thas, Gul'dan, both not options. It's Jaina, Nazeebo, we're looking at Orphea, Kel'Thuzad, if you can play him, would even be okay. Wouldn't recommend it, but Kel'Thuzad can basically be one trick to GM. Almost anything can be one trick to GM if you're good enough. But Kel'Thuzad, I wouldn't recommend it, but it would work. Probius, same thing, wouldn't recommend it, but it would work.
Okay.
Asmodan would kind of work, but also banned out. And anything else is basically not worth picking. Okay. And so again, Li-Ming doesn't really have that wave clear. Or screwing up the Juice Pirates versus Mockery. You know, the Hammer, I'm actually working on a YouTube video right now that teaches people how to run Juice Pirates basically perfectly. There's a lot of optimization to that comp that you can do that makes it absolutely ridiculously oppressive to play.
What is Juice Pirates?
Juice Pirates is the comp where you get Lieutenant Morales and Ethereal, and you use medevac dropship to just go straight to their core, and you all just suicide for it. It's like you all like get in the ship, you ride straight to their core, and then once you're out and the enemy team starts to hit you, Tyrael drops the Sanctification for the AoE invulnerability, and they can't stop you, and you all just suicide for the enemy core. It wins the game in like 8 minutes if you do it right.
So you have to get like level 10 or whatever first?
Yes. The like
I don't think I've ever taken dropship.
Dropship is really good for Juice Pirates, and also it just acts as an ice block, is the thing. Like, the macro, a lot of times, to me, the macro is kind of secondary, and you just end up in fights using it as, like, an ice block when the enemy team, like, dives you hard. Like, I take it whenever we don't have, like, a good auto-attack target. And then sometimes you just get to use it for macro, and that's cool, too. But Juice Pirates is a very specific comp. I'm going to go into it more later unless you guys want to talk about it, because like I said, I am trying to coach this man, and I don't want to keep him waiting forever.
And I think a big thing, like, I feel like I played okay, despite the advantages against us from the beginning, but definitely I have no idea what talents I should. So just a heads up on that.
Okay. I will admit, I play a lot of ranged DPS, don't play a lot of Li-Ming. Like, I don't, so... I'm going to be focusing more on, like, the non-hero specific stuff.
Perfect. Sounds good.
It's like I said, I do think you're fighting... Oh, whoops, I'm on the wrong side. I do think you're fighting an uphill battle from the start with the wave clear disadvantage. If the enemy team is smart, you basically get steamrolled, even if you guys are good players. So let's see. Like, you guys could be, like, a league above them, and I think if they just understand basic macro, you still lose. So... here, I think there's not much reason to fight. So, there are like 2 big indicators. Hey, Stealth Ninja, thank you for the 4-person raid. I appreciate you. So there are 2 big indicators of, at least for me, this may be an incomplete list, of what makes a good level 1 fight. And it's like CC and Burst are the 2 big ones. And so your team... it has an okay amount of CC and burst. Oh, and also stacks. If the enemy team can get stacks off of fighting, you don't want to fight them. You know what I mean?
Pure skill, baby.
Hey,
this is
Hammer,
what
thanks for
number
the
1
follow.
GM looks like, baby.
So, like, first of all, you're going to give the Gul'dan stacks by fighting here, which is bad. Your Diablo also just kind of face checks for no reason and goes super hard. And they have pretty decent... they don't even have that amazing burst in CC. I don't know, your Diablo just kind of inted. I don't think you guys should be fighting because you can just give the Gul'dan stacks. But I also don't think it should have gone that poorly. There's not really a lot you could have done personally. I just don't think you guys should be fighting this. Like, I think you guys can go for the Artanis swap and maybe get a kill off that. Maybe. Li-Ming's not the best at following up on Artanis. Because Li-Ming wants the target to be far away.
Like, after we lose the fight, should I just go bot?
Yes. This should be getting soaked. Like, you need to think of minions as the highest priority in the game. Like, every minion should be getting soaked at every moment, unless there's, like, something pulling you away, like an objective. Like, that's, like, ideal play in a lot of situations. Can we take a second to flame that Artanis level 1? I was already thinking about it, but I wasn't going to say anything because it's not the person I'm coaching. I love Power Hungry first. I think it's a great idea here, especially with how often you're going to get Globes from Dragonshire. Artanis should definitely be amateur opponent here. In case you're wondering about the Artanis build. Non-heroes.
Okay.
Yep. So again, you guys are already kind of behind on soak. What's going on over here?
Oh, yeah, let's just skip ahead a little.
Wait, what happened here?
I had to step away from the keyboard.
Okay. So, my first rule, good Heroes of the Storm play, is to be at the keyboard. I find that I lose a lot of games when I'm not. So...
yeah.
I don't even want to fast forward, I just want to see.
Oh,
alright, there we
see
go.
how long I'm away?
Okay. So again, minions are the biggest priority. The way I think about Heroes of the Storm is the game happens in between minions.
Okay.
And so you clear minions, and then you go do other stuff. Okay, of course,
Okay.
this is while the game doesn't have an objective going. So keep in mind here, the enemy team is squandering a huge advantage. They have this moment where you guys need to be clearing mid wave, or else you're going to fall behind in experience. So you have to chain someone to mid lane, or inherently fall behind, which
Okay.
means they're free to do their camps.
So they shouldn't, like, at this point, they should recognize that we need to clear minions and do other things that's like the in between minions while they're waiting for their next wave.
Yep, because standing around, they're doing a whole lot of nothing in mid lane that could be doing camps.
Okay.
So right now, you guys are missing mid soak, so you're just going to fall behind naturally. You've already missed a lot of soak from when you didn't go straight bottom, and also you're missing mid soak now. And it's very, very hard to not miss soak when you have such low wave clear, because you're going to lose every fight if you just soak it out, because you're going to spend all the game soaking. Let me see. What is going on? I don't understand why their solo laner is bottom. This is like so hard to commentate on because it's so detached from what the reality of a good game should be. Like, I'm not even talking about you, I'm talking about like the entire game. Okay, dominance. Your build's good so far. Do you have
Well,
chat?
I guess one thing I was wondering, I know I see a lot of people who pick Li-Ming on this map, like try and camp a lane and just take the W range reset talents and just like focus down towers.
Mm-hmm. So I will say, if you're going to do that, it has to be in mid lane. Mid lane is much safer because it's so short. Like, look at how short mid lane is. I can fit both towers in one camera view, whereas I'm in the middle of the lane and bottom, and I can't even see either tower. Like,
Got it.
it's just so much longer and more dangerous to be in range as Li-Ming. And even then, that's something that you can only do if the enemy team is like super, super behind on their macro game. This is making me want to spam Jaina to Masters again. Oh yeah, I think you can one-trick Jaina. Like, Jaina is almost always good. The only time I don't really recommend Jaina is on BOE, and even then she's okay. So let's see here. I like that you recognize that going for this Johanna is a waste of time, and that you want to focus that Gul'dan. I think that was good awareness on your part. Here, I'd probably be looking to get out before the enemy team collapses on me. Let's see, you have your E up and ready to go. I'd probably go over to this left corner and
Like
look
this
to blink
blink
out.
out.
Oh, that's a really good blink to dodge that. Okay, so there's no need to be walking in. Li-Ming wants to be distant, especially before you have Calamity. There is zero reason to be walking in here. Like, your orb scales with damage and whatnot. It sucks that that orb didn't land. It's a pretty good dodge from him, though. That orb should have just been a little more to the left, because otherwise he can just walk straight up and avoid it like he did. But, let me see. Yep, good dodge on the Condemn. Didn't need to walk in there. Yeah. Not really much to say other than hit your skill shots there. Nice. There you go, you heard my advice. Okay. Yeah, I believe you have tap ready to go. You do. You take it mid-fight instead of just staying. Okay, again here. I think this is totally a situation where you can just go after the Gul'dan.
Okay.
Let's take a look at this.
Sorry, are you saying instead of tapping or after I tap?
After tapping,
Go after the Gul'dan.
After tapping, when you're about to go on this Johanna right here, you're on your mount. You can just go zone out this Gul'dan instead of stopping right here. You're gonna just run straight to him, and then without Gul'dan, this guy's 1v4, and you're basically killing the Johanna by killing the Gul'dan.
Okay, that makes sense.
Thoughts on Aetherwalker? As I've said before, I don't play a lot of Li-Ming Fane, but I don't really see Aetherwalker as being worth it. I don't know. Like, you compare it to Power Hungry or literally any of the other options, and it just doesn't seem worth. Yeah. That was where I think you could have done the same thing as before, where you were on the bot temple and you said, "Oh, killing the Johanna is a waste of time. Let's go after the Gul'dan."
Okay.
The hammer, yeah, this is gold 4, demo to gold 5, or that was an earlier game. This is low gold.
It's probably still, yeah, couple of gold.
Good info. Never tried HOTS competitively, but still like trying when I do play. Hell yeah, Dizzy. Well, I think it's always nice to improve. The feeling of like actually noticing that you're improving is so nice. So let's see here.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed improvement. I started the preseason at like bronze 5.
Oh yeah, dude. No, that's dope. I used to be like there weren't bronze ranks back then. It was like a 50 rank system. I got placed like rank like 39 or something like that. I used to be really low rank at these games, and I sort of just like
Climb your way.
yeah. It's not even about the climb. Like I feel like I don't know. I feel like climb is so like rank centric. I just became a better player. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
and
just
then
by playing.
And then the climb happened because I was a better player.
It's very Mr. Miyagi.
That's what people tell me. People tell me that I have like a Mr. Miyagi sort of like fundamentally based, I don't know, like gamblers, casino players edge, just sort of thinking about it. Okay. I like that you're going mid. Really, somebody should be covering this, because you're about to miss a ton of minions. But I don't think it should be you. I don't know. This is what I hate about your team. Like, any situation where you're stressing with minions, which is what happens when your Artanis dies, you suddenly have an extra lane of responsibility to take over. Your team is just so inadequately, like, tooled to deal with it. Where
So, but like let's hash that out. So Artanis dies, and then like, should I do that? Like in this draft, in this game, like should I take it upon myself to go
as
get the
you
minions
right
that
now,
he's missing
no.
because he died?
No.
Okay.
Now, let's say you were a Jaina, or a Junkrat, or anything
someone
else.
that could like drop a W, clear the wave, and then go back.
Yes. You would go up, you would insta-clear that, and you would come back. As Li-Ming? Nah. Let's see. Right here, the enemy team shouldn't be fighting over this at all. So you should just be soaking this. Because, like, they had 2 people, and one of them was super low. As you can see, the Cassie is hearthing out right now. The enemy team shouldn't be contesting this. And now they're going to clear middle. And this mid wave is going to clash into your towers. And you guys are still going to be behind. And also, you would have had, oh wait, no, they actually did this through vision. So your team also just kind of overstayed, even with Johanna walking down. Fane, I didn't play Tracer until, like, a year or 2 after release, by the way. Like, I didn't play her, like, consistently. I started playing her because of Hurricane Harvey. Let's see. So let's move on to the next thing. So, while minions are being soaked, again, minions are the highest priority. Camps are something you do in between minion waves, or because someone else is holding it. So you should be mid soaking instead of doing this camp.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's see. She's just broken this camp. She was hella broken on release. Okay. Luckily, enemy team played it kind of poorly. You still got out with it.
How about like general positioning when we start to group up? Like, have you noticed? Like you were saying,
that was actually the next thing that I was going to talk about. By the way, at 7 you want Calamity.
which one's Calamity?
It's the damage on teleport.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't think I ever teleport aggressively.
yeah, think about it this way: you want talents. Like, you think about like what ideal play is for a character, and a lot of times talents are just what accentuates that. And so a lot of times as Li-Ming, you're playing to get a single kill because that resets you. So
Right. So do everything I can to get that single kill.
exactly. And Calamity lets you get that single kill, and also it has heavy synergy with your resets. Because Calamity, it lets you chain resets very, very effectively. So it helps you secure that first kill, and it's super good when you can just spam it over and over again. So let's see. So it was definitely supposed to be Calamity at 7, but what I was going to talk about for your positioning is now the enemy team starts to back up. Anytime you're a character that launches things out of the bushes or punishes enemy bad positioning, or like that launches projectiles rather, you do it out of a bush, is what I'm saying. Projectile characters, if you can shoot out of a bush instead of out of like vision, you do it every time.
Got it. Just in terms of dodge, like
They
seeing it
get
coming at you.
yes, they get so much less
less
time
reaction
because even before you shoot it, if you're in vision, they can plan around it. Whereas if you're out of vision, they don't know if you're right here, all the way to the right in the bush. They don't know if you're in the middle. So
They have to assume the worst.
So, or they might stand here thinking that you're not that close, and then you just hit them for free and burst them. Basically, it just restricts the amount of information that the enemy team has. So, you definitely, as Li-Ming, you spend a lot of the game shooting
In
out of
lane.
bushes.
Well, you're saying I should rather like I don't do that.
Yeah, I'm saying like ideally,
Okay.
like not you. That was like the sort of general royal you.
Okay.
And so here, this is definitely something where you have the option to walk into this bush and start launching, but instead you're kind of shooting it from vision. And then the enemy team wouldn't really be able to see what was going on as effectively. Because if you're in this bush right now, anytime you're not casting, they don't know if you're going to the shrine or if you're waiting and shooting. They don't know where you are in the bush. They don't know when you're about to shoot. Like it's just so nice overall.
Fog of War.
Yep, Fog of War is OP, man. Like that's like one of the biggest things. Like I would say what takes you to like Diamond and Master and Grandmaster is just knowing how to kill minions and not like int in team fights. And what takes you to actually like competitively professional is understanding how to play around vision. After playing Seeker for a very long time, I think that Calamity is slightly better. Not slightly, much better. If you haven't played Seeker, you would know now, would you? It's still legit on PoE. I could go more into the Li-Ming build discussion that you guys are having, but I'm not. So let's see here. Again, nobody's soaking this mid-wave, and especially when you guys almost have 10, this mid-wave will give you 10. That needs to be getting soaked. Artanis should be top lane, first of all. Your tank needs to be with the team. Artanis needs to be in the solo lane. You need to be soaking this mid lane. Especially because then you can be threatening the dragon. And if they don't have someone matching you mid, you get the dragon for free.
Say that again. So, Artanis should be top. Who should be bot?
Artanis should be top. Diablo should be with the team. You should be mid soaking it. And so because minions need to be soaked. Anytime minions aren't being soaked, it's usually a misplay unless there's like a specific thing calling you to group. And so right now the fact that minions aren't being soaked,
taking around without soaking.
Yeah, especially down 10. Like this is bad on even talents, but the fact that you're down 10 and like coming down for a fight is very bad because you don't want to encourage that.
Fight.
Yes. So this is definitely a situation where you need to be mid-soaking, which is what Gul'dan did, and now Gul'dan's going to come down and join the team, and you guys are missing soak in the mid lane and even losing a tower in the process, then this just contributes to the reason why the enemy team is so far ahead in experience. So let's see. I like that you took Wave of Force. Again, Wave of Force is another thing. Wave of Force is a lot like Calamity for this this like discussion that we're having. Wave of Force helps you chain resets together. Disintegrate, not so much. Because like if you're sitting there like Disintegrate and then you get a takedown, like you can't like sit there and cast Disintegrate 4 times in 5 seconds. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just not how the ability works, whereas Wave of Force is much more bursty. Disintegrate still has its place. What's up?
Well, I think that's what I do this game is once we get 20, I take the Archon so that I can do the Disintegrate and then also have Wave of Force.
I think Archon has its place as a counter to Sergeant Hammer and as a sieging talent.
Okay.
And I think those are like the 2 main reasons that you pick it.
What else do you think I should go for 20?
Oh god. I typically see people go Repulsion. It just secures kills so easily.
Okay, or the Elements one.
I think if I were to go Disintegrate, I'd probably go Talrash's, and if I went Wave of Force, I'd probably go Repulsion. Okay. Cool. So again, mid-wave's going unsoaked. You guys are falling behind on experience for a fight that shouldn't have even happened. Gul'dan is Reign of Destruction for some reason. Reign of Destruction is amazingly good in Juice Pirates and should not be picked otherwise. I'll just say that for the stream right now. Reign of Destruction is absolutely bonkers busted in Juice Pirates. Okay, again. Let's see. It's such a fun strat, dude. I ran it with some friends that were new to the game, like semi-new to the game recently, and we won like 7 games in a row with it. Let's see. Where are you? Okay. See, now this is what you should be doing, is soaking every mid-wave, and then going down once the lane is clear, and this lets you threaten the dragon cap. That's exactly what I was talking about before. If your Diablo was on the ball with controlling this, you would have gotten this. So this wasn't you messing up for not getting this your Diablo messing up. But like, this is how you should be playing every lane. And also you should clear the minions over Wing the tower.
Clearing the minions and then threatening the Dragon Knight.
Yeah, I'm just saying being mid threatens the Dragon Knight, but you should clear minions, go bottom. Clear minions, go bottom. Clear minions, go bottom.
Got it.
And you're coming back to mid for the minions. And also
okay, not for the objective.
Yeah, unless you can just free cap the Dragon Knight. If you can free cap the Dragon Knight at any point, go for it. So let me see here. But like I
guess in that situation, is it like if I'm mid, should I ping or tell Artanis to come mid, or should I stay there? You know.
Artanis's role on this map is to be in the top lane, and he's not doing that. I don't. Is the Cocoon changed live? I think it's on PTR Harbinger. I don't like. This is one of those things where it's like he's so far off of the reality of what he should be doing that I'm not really sure how to answer. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. So if everything were magical Christmas land, a much different conversation. Yeah, but given the fact that it's who's on the bottom, like Anduin, Tychus,
yeah, you have Artanis and Diablo switched positions.
Right.
So, but what you should be doing right now is clear mid, go bottom. Clear mid, go bottom.
Okay.
You can't really... If you could get this Artanis to go to where he belongs, then cool. But, And also, so you W this tower right here. This should go on the minions every time.
The W?
Yes. Because what a lot of people don't realize is like if you clear the minion wave, then the minions are going to do damage to the towers anyway. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And also, minions do triple damage to structures. This isn't like told in the game at all. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Like the game just has a lot of these things that are like super, super important to know that it just doesn't tell you. But minions do triple damage to structures versus anything else. So if you just use that same W to just clear the minion wave instead of killing the tower, then you'll be able to rotate down to your team faster, and it's going to have basically the same effect anyway in terms of siege damage.
Yeah. Okay.
So you go and clear this. Perfect. You need to clear this next minion wave too. Oh, no, you're actually soaking this for your teammate who backed. Okay, now you need to leave though, now that your teammate's back. There's not any reason to stay here. So you could have left a little earlier and been clearing this wave faster.
Okay.
Okay, good punish. Now you're on the dragon, that's good. Okay, ooh, okay. So the Dragon Knight, you take it mid. The only reason you take it top is if you're going to have everyone else focus bottom at the same time. In this situation, you always want to just go for mid four with it, though. It's right next to it, you have a minion wave coming up. This is pretty easy call. Because, like, think about forts as obstacles to you winning the game, and some of them stop you from winning the game more than others. And
the mid one is one of those in this case.
Yeah, the mid and bot ones do way more to keep you from winning the game. Hey, yeah, Rich Melcher! Update on school when you get a sec. Hell yeah! Thank you for the sub, Rich Melcher. I appreciate the support. Mid and mid and bot do a lot more to stop you from winning the game than the top one does, because you cannot end the game through top lane on this map unless you're just drastically winning.
If I recall correctly, I think instead of going for the fort, the reason I went top was to kill the turrets and the fountain. I think I remember watching a Paradox video saying like the amount of health that the walls and the towers have compared to the amount of health the fort has.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what I remember going through my head at that point.
Okay. I could see it after you kill the fort, is the thing.
Yeah.
Because right now I think this play will result in you not getting any forts at all, or only getting the top fort. I don't think this play
Which
ever
is less
ends up with you.
impactful than the other two.
Mm-hmm. Like, whereas if you just got mid fort, that's like better than getting just getting top fort, for instance. And I think you're guaranteed to get at least mid fort here. This is a very weird situation all around. You can definitely kick away somebody here. Yeah, so you end up not getting any forts at all. And then now you've got to back up with Dragon Knights fading away. So yeah, like, I don't know, just top, like, you can go there to get the XP, to take out the healing fountain. So a lot of times what I find myself going top lane on the dragon is you kill mid, and then you go up top, and you say, okay, we can't get the fort. Like, this dragon is not going to help us get the fort. Like, we're not going to finish it. I'm going to take it top and take out their wall. Because I'd rather 2 walls than a wall and half a fort. You know what I mean? That's
just
like,
in terms of like stretching it out to its max use.
yes. Like, getting the walls of mid and top, like wall healing fountain is worth way more than wall healing fountain half fort.
Half fort, yeah. Okay.
Especially because half fort is much more dangerous than getting a wall top.
But you're saying the fort was easily killable in that
Yes,
situation.
you had the fort 100% here. Okay. So thus, with that information, mid was the play.
How did we get ahead on EXP? Any ideas?
I've been watching you more than I've been watching like the whole environment.
That's okay. I was just curious because you mentioned like the EXP was going to be a challenge.
And it should have been. Let me see.
If it's them misplaying.
I can guarantee you the answer is them misplaying. I'm just curious myself now. God, you've been ahead in XP for so long. What did they do? This team should literally like auto win based on macro alone. I'm not pressing B anymore, screw it. Okay, so you're like up a level at this point. You probably just like farmed them for some kills or something. Like the XP numbers don't work in replay, so... And I don't have like the special UI that like tells you. Okay, like you can download a special UI that like tells you the XP numbers, and I don't have that, so... Yeah, hovering over the levels only tells you in a live game. Okay. So, should have gone mid, taking the free fort. The deaths are kind of bad. Ooh, it looks like you stood in corruption a little bit here.
That beast is not my blood.
Okay. So yeah, here, the corruption's gonna echo, and you just walk back through it. It's a little bit of unnecessary damage, but it's just an awareness thing. You gotta keep in mind your own body as well as what you're staring at. And so this is something that I think like literally no one talks about, but actually just like takes your range DPS level game to the next level, or really any game to the next level, and it's eye movement. I think what a lot of players do is they keep their eyes transfixed on what's happening right in front of them, at where they're aiming their skill shots, when your eyes should more be bumping back and forth. Like, just eye movement alone is tied to like what you're thinking so hard. And I think a good range DPS player, like a transcendental range DPS player, because you can get to Grandmaster just staring at what you're looking at, but a transcendental DPS player bounces back and forth between themselves and what they're looking at very often.
Yeah, same thing as in Melee, which I play, where it's like looking at your opponent's character versus your own.
Yeah, like I remember one thing I compare it to a lot is driving school. When I was in driving school, they told you move your eyes every 2 seconds. Like, you know, like while you're driving, just
so you're constantly updating.
Yeah, check that mirror, check the other mirror, look at the road, like road mirror, road mirror, road mirror, road mirror, that kind of thing. I think range DPS play is the exact same, and you could have saved yourself a lot of health right there. I like the Wave of Force to buy your team enough time to get on it. Unfortunately, your Artanis misplayed and stepped off it, but that's not your fault. You played that very well. Okay. I do take issue with this cast of Arcane Orb, though. So let me see. So again, Arcane Orb scales with the damage that it travels, or the distance that it travels. So that's a really good one to cast it right there into their team. Unnecessary corruption damage. And then here you wave a force to try and secure it. That's very good. And then Anarchill, that's kind of the opposite of tennis, where you just want to watch the ball. Sure. I mean, but in tennis, you're just keeping track of the ball. Like, there aren't, like, lava circles that pop up below you that you have to, like, get out of. The court is always the exact same below you in tennis. So I could totally see how you would do something like that in a game like tennis versus something like this. But anyway, this Arcane Orb should be going down the hall, hitting the backline, rather than hitting the Johanna right in front of you.
Yeah.
So you throw this full combo on the Johanna. If you threw it more down the hallway toward this Cassia, you probably get the kill on Cassia. The kill on Cassia is a reset, which means you kill...
Li-Ling.
God, I can't even tell what hero that is. Lily? Yeah. You kill the Lily, you probably get another kill on top of that. You get another kill on top of that, it's a wipe. So I think, like, just that decision alone probably would have won you this team fight, or at least would have made it go a lot better. And that's, like, the thing, like, just playing Li-Ming to get those individual kills is so important, and that's a situation where Calamity would have been incredibly impactful. Because you could have QW'd, gotten the reset, and then QWE, guaranteed another reset, QWE, another reset, like, it would have been huge. So let's see. Here, all you can really do is toss Ws. Again, minions are the highest priority. And this is another situation where you can see it. Cassia, you could poke her down to 30%, and it would still be less valuable than just hitting those minions. Because the Lily will just heal off everything you do here. Whereas hitting the minions actually slows down their push.
So, on the other side of that, if I'm them, like, should I body block
Yes.
the W's trying to clear the...
Yes. The Johanna should be stepping in front of the W's, and the Lily should just be healing it off.
Cool.
Because if you had hit that first W on the minion wave, then it would be really close to dead right here. Like, you could wave it and it would be dead.
I don't think wave does damage to minions anymore.
No, it's all enemies.
I think they changed it, because I tried it.
I mean, then it would be a bug then. Like I'm saying, like, then the tooltip's wrong. And maybe it is. They've had tooltips wrong before. That was a good blink. So, I'm not really sure why this aggressive blink happened without Calamity. And even when you do have Calamity, it's the last thing you do. Because you want to be far away for your W.
You want the E to kill him?
Yeah. You want your W to scale with damage, and you want your E to kill them.
Okay.
Because your E is, like, sort of a commitment. And so if you E early and don't get the kill, then you're kind of out of position. Whereas if you, like, WQ, oh, they didn't land, you can still not E in and not commit, you know? So...
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, this definitely needed to be a cast, and then an E. It didn't even really need to be an E if you don't have Calamity. And then also, you wouldn't be so close to him, and a W would kill him right here, guaranteed, while he's draining life.
Yeah, right.
One neat little trick you can do that wasn't relevant there, but I still want to bring it up, is if Ball Lightning jumps to you, you can blink away to bring it away from your team, and then it'll end on you.
Okay.
But Ball Lightning doesn't go on you, it just bounces back and forth between your teammates, I think. I think it hit you once. It's a really, like, precise timing trick, but it's really nice when you pull it off.
Yeah. Something to keep in mind.
Yeah. Let's see. Calamity. Yeah, Calamity doesn't hit minions. Wave does, according to the chat. Okay. Just kind of waiting off on the side. I think that you could stand to be closer, because they're focusing your teammates above. And the fight's moving up a bit. So shooting from behind, you actually had some range problems right there.
Well, I guess my thing is, like, should I be close at half health, half mana?
I mean, you weren't in any danger. in that situation.
Okay, so
Let's
just
see.
recognizing when I'm in danger.
Mm-hmm. That's always the big thing about range DPS is just dealing damage without taking damage. And a lot of times it's not about how close you are to the enemy team, it's about who they're hitting. And if you look right here, when you're in this pit and Cassia starts to hit your teammates right here, okay, right after this flip, they cannot hurt you. Like, you could be, like, right to the left of Diablo and you wouldn't take any damage, or at least you wouldn't die.
Okay.
Like, or at least that's not really true, but, like, they cannot hurt you
But-
from inside the temple, rather.
Well,
like, inside the point.
Yeah. Well, it's
So-
also like Cassia's the only one that could really do anything.
Mm-hmm. And she just got separation away from you. It's like being at the top of the temple right now, like the top of the point, you take 0 damage from the enemy team. Because they're hitting your teammates. Diablo's super low and they're far away from you.
Okay.
So it's just sort of, you need to have that recognition of when you're not actually in danger and you can step forward to deal damage.
So that is just like a tracking of like cooldowns and who they're focusing, or like
Yeah.
how do I develop?
Yep, cooldowns, who they're focusing, your teammates' health, positioning overall. Like
Check,
a lot of
check the
times,
sweet blink out though.
a lot of times the enemy team can only damage, like they only have like one significant source of damage, and if that guy's out, then you're safe. And that's what you called out earlier when you called out the Cassia's positioning. All right, I feel like you're just gonna try to blink the wall and completely fail because you have to walk all the way to the left.
No,
Oh, wait.
I'm gonna get it. Just watch.
Oh, did you take 16E? That's what I thought. Okay, because I don't think you can blink this wall without Illusionist. Or 13E. Okay. Not bad. Although, really? Yeah. I don't know. Let me look back at this again. Also, Illusionist
I don't think my
resets you.
positioning was great to like be in a like once I missed some of those combos from
I think you overstayed in this pit. Like, right now you should be leaving this pit. And the fact that you have to stay in so long creates this really awkward forced fight. Now your team is stepping forward trying to save you, you blink out, and then now they're like, oh crap, we're in a garbage fight that we didn't want to be in because we tried to save Li-Ming. So your Diablo, I think, goes down. Is it Artanis? Yeah. Diablo gets pulled out. Artanis goes down. When I think the only reason he did go down was because you were in too long.
because he was going in to try and save me.
That's another situation right there. Just you queued the bush.
Okay.
Minions are priority. That was a good clear. The minions. You're going up to join the team here. Honestly, you're never going to win that fight without your support anyway. I like that you're taking this camp because, look, you had so much downtime in between waves right here. This is when camp should be taken. Like, let's look at this again.
And I think this is something that I tried to pay attention to in League, but I think it's the same where like your minion position that you can see on the map mirrors the enemy.
Yep,
Okay, cool.
it's definitely true. So right now, your teammates will soak bottom, so you can do camp. Ideally, your teammates will soak bottom, you can do camp, which they do. And your minion wave is pushed up, they've got to be soaking this. This camp is free. But also, in case they decide to invade, you're positioning all the way to the left. This is another thing a lot of players are really bad about, but you're actually doing great here. Is you're positioning very safely so that if they invade, you can get out. Whereas if you were all the way to the right, that would be a
I'd be trapped.
problem. Yeah.
Okay.
So I love the timing that you did on that camp. You did it exactly when you're supposed to. You positioned like you're supposed to on the camp. Love it. I do think you could have just cleared mid instead of going top. I don't think this will solve anything, as you can see with the sort of indecisiveness where you're like, wait a second, this isn't a great idea. And you come back. If Artanis dies up there, that's not your fault. And then now you're taking the
think I
time to
was-
clear this wave.
I think I was thinking like, should I stay mid, try and poke DK as they're trying to take it?
I get you. Now you should stay mid. 100%. Because now they're going to get it for free, and you could have stopped the Li-Ming, or the Li-Li. Oh, okay. You guys got top just in time. Again, that's just walking through corruption. You just need more self-awareness right there. Because otherwise, now you're super low, and you don't really want to get in close enough to use Wave of Force combo.
Get it?
Yeah. So now you have to play this like excessively safely because you tanked that corruption. Oh, again, you could have blinked out of that combustion right there. Because you had blink up when it went off. So here, I think that you have more safety if you go left after the Anduin ult rather than right. So I'm going to demonstrate this to you. Let's see. Okay, so right here, you're in this position. If you go up and left over to this area, you're completely safe from their damage dealer way on the other side of the fight. Whereas if you go down and right over here, you have to dodge everything from that damage dealer, and that person's actually relevant. It's basically eliminating the amount of people that can actually hurt you at a given moment.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you would be over here instead, and then after the combustion, you could walk up here and cast, like by the Dragon Knight. But now that you're down here, the Gul'dan and Cassia are both in damage range to hit you, and you die to that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, like that's also another big thing, is just sort of like thinking about how do I interact with as few or as little of the enemy team as possible, and going up there, like in terms of just who can hit me, because it's all about dealing damage without taking damage. So if you went up and left right there, you would deal the same amount of damage, but Cassia and Gul'dan would be unable to hit you.
Okay.
So now the team goes down. Oh, let's say right there. I'm just gonna fast forward to it.
The Dragon Knight shall
Yep, now it's just about defending against the dragon.
So,
What's up?
so right now it's 20 to 19, and I think I said something in chat about like just try and stall and get 20.
Yeah, I saw you say that earlier while I was fast forwarding.
So, like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I feel like fighting 9 to 10 is different than 19 to 20, or no?
I mean, you shouldn't do either of them. 9 to 10, I mean, they're both bad ideas. Like, this Anduin's way too far out, and the Dragon Knight may have saved him. He should not go left. Oh my god. Okay. That was so weird. The Dragon Knight actually just kicked the kill target. Never kick the kill target, by the way.
I think that I do that a lot unintentionally. Like, I target someone and then they become kill target
Feels
mid
bad.
W. Is there a way to like cancel that?
No, you can't cancel it. You just have to have good understanding of how the fight works. Like, of how a fight's going to go.
Okay.
Which comes from, like, understanding just, like, the damage that certain characters do and, like, their cooldowns and whatnot.
So what about positioning after, like, right when we kill the DK? Like, should I be with my team or should I be with them?
You don't do a lot by yourself. Li-Ming wants to be around a bunch of people to chain resets.
Okay.
You're not really, like, you're not consistent at, like, 1v1ing people. Whereas, like, you're in a team fight, you could just throw a stone and you're gonna hit somebody, you know, when they're clumped up.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, then you go do the camp. You're clearing this wave.
That was
Love it.
probably a risky camp, right?
What, this, which camp? Bruisers?
Yeah.
No.
Or no, sorry, the siege camp.
I
that we
think you
did, like,
guys were perfectly
when
fine.
they were still in vision.
I mean, let me look at this again. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna take off Fog of War for this one. Yeah, enemy team probably could have just murdered you right here. But once they backed off... Wait, could you see that guy Hearthing, or was he in the bush? If you could see this guy Hearthing, then you do it every time. But I don't know if you could. Looks like he goes into the bush and does it. Yeah, that could have gone really, really wrong. But the thing is, like, if they try to be aggressive, you can just walk away from it. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't, like, asking a lot of commitment to start this camp.
Okay.
So, like, I mean, I do think that, like, it wasn't guaranteed that you get it, but I don't think there's any real, like, way that you die. Any reasonable way you die is what I should say.
It is gold.
Let's see. This does nothing. It'll leash by the time your team gets back to them, if you just queue it like that. It did a little bit.
Sorry, say
say that you're like 5 seconds behind. You're saying what didn't do anything?
I was saying the Q over the wall didn't do much, but it kind of
Oh.
did.
Well, I think I was checking to see if they were doing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay. This is pretty good right here. Oh. And here is the Siege Archon cast. You gotta be ready to drop that immediately. Yeah, that's very, very risky positioning, because now you're just gonna get jumped on.
But I felt okay because my team was right there with the camp. But we like full in right here. Don't kill anyone.
Yeah, this is so sad to watch. Okay, so you never fight a Cassia, Gul'dan, Blaze, Johanna team in a corridor. And the reason your team fought in the corridor is because you were up sieging this fort for so long.
Okay.
Because then you got caught right here, so the team
And
had to respond.
they felt forced to doing that. Okay.
Yeah, because if they didn't come, then you were dead. And so, that's one problem with Archon, is you have to leave it early, because you have to exit Archon form before you can do anything.
Right, right.
Because, like, this team is exceptional at taking AoE fights, and you forced your team into an AoE fight with this positioning. Whereas your team, not so much. Your team doesn't really have any inherent synergy to it. But it's definitely not winning AoE team fights.
Yeah, as was demonstrated right there.
Yeah, you gotta get out of here. Cass is messing us up. Need to get her and spread out in shields. Yeah, see, I mean, Artanis kind of has the right idea, but he doesn't understand that that problem was not necessarily, like, in fight positioning, but more about where the fight even took place.
Sorry,
at all.
what did they say? Your camera's blocking the chat.
Oh, sorry. Let me fix that really fast. Okay.
It hasn't mattered until now.
Yeah, he said Cass is messing us up. Need to get her and spread out when she ults. So I'm saying Artanis kind of has the right idea, but like this was more about location than about like how you guys played the fight. I don't think you guys could really play the fight that well if you're stuck in a hallway. Like you can only spread out so
their
much.
turns rather than playing to our strengths.
Mm-hmm. She should Blessed Shield that every single time. You die right here, she just throws Blessed Shield. Because then Gul'dan has enough time. Like, Dragon can walk up. Gul'dan has enough time to walk up. Because keep in mind, you still have to shift out of Archon form before you can do anything. And that's basically like a half second, 1 second self-stun. On top of the how long second stun? 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically a 3-second stun if she just throws the shield right there. You were guaranteed dead for throwing that against... Like, if you were against a GM, Johanna, you would have died. 100%.
Yeah, I just don't think that I'm having enough of an impact because I can't get the reset right.
Mm-hmm. And part of what is so helpful getting that reset is Calamity.
Mm-hmm.
And Calamity Illusionist works so well because you can Calamity from a lot farther away, and you can get a second one in fights if you're being pressured. It's
Or
just
get
so
out.
nice. Mm-hmm. It's very, very strong. That sucks you didn't get that kill. You should get out of here, no problem. Wait. No. This is going to be completely childish and not at all relevant to the stream at all, but they changed the dick bush. For years, this has been the dick bush. For years.
Did they remove the other planter?
So there used to be like extra like little hedge area right here that resembled testicles. And they changed it to just have this little pot. And,
So sad.
And for like 3 or 4 years, my friends and I have been like, oh, he's in Dick Bush. And like that was like our actual call out for it. But in the rework, they changed it. So there's no testicle part of the bush anymore. I'm pissed.
at Blizzard CS.
Where's my Dick Bush? Okay. Back to the game.
At this point, we're hemorrhaging.
Yeah. I mean, you're just trying to fight and stop the bleeding, which I can understand. Well, actually, no, I can't understand it. You don't have Artanis. Dear God, this is an awful decision. Everyone
Yes,
that
it
wanted
really
to take
was.
this fight should be hanged.
It was Diablo.
When I thought that you had Artanis up, I was like, nah, I can understand it. And I was like, wait a second. Especially because it's in an open field. Like, if you're against an AoE team, fighting them in an open field where you all have the freedom to, like, be as spread as you want is so good. But not 4v5.
Yeah, it was Diablo there.
Yeah, no. That's another situation where you need those pings to come out, though. You know? You should recognize this as a bad decision and just spam those retreat pings. Because, like, yes, it's on him for making a bad engage, but you definitely could have helped him understand that it was bad. Yeah. Like, a lot of Storm League is playing around how bad your teammates are. Like, that's a real thing. And, like, if a teammate takes a garbage engage, but you just follow it wholeheartedly, I think you shoulder some of the blame, you know?
Well, but I feel like there's that fine line between, right? Like, if everybody goes on a bad call.
Yeah. No, like, it's better to everybody follow a bad call than to fracture. But, I mean, even in that situation, like, him just inting by himself
would have been better.
Is honestly better, yeah, than, like, 4 people inting.
Because then we could have tried to defend us 4.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, I think you just straight up spam retreat on him. Like, I do think that's good advice for a general. Like, when you're talking about, like, macro calls where, like, half the team goes to boss and, like, half the team goes to tribute when either would have been better, sure. Here, like... yeah, I think it was just wait for Artanis, and if he doesn't want to wait, you let him die. So now the game should be over.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that was kind of rough anyway. And screw this Anduin. I'm not even in this game, but I hate this guy. As the saying goes, in CSGO, you buy as a team, you die as a team, 100%.
So, kind of summarizing from the beginning, the pick needed more wave clear. The talents needed to play more towards why I would be picking Li-Ming.
Yep.
And soaking... like,
is highest priority.
Yeah, and better rotations and doing the things in between the waves.
Yep. Hots is played in between waves instead of 100%. And also another one, skill shot heroes play out of bushes a lot.
Yeah, okay.
And in team fights, if you can rotate, like, you try to keep you and the other damage dealer on opposite sides of the team fight a lot of the times. That depends, depending on, like, if you're playing, like, aggressive characters, but if you're playing, like, a poke in that situation, like what was happening in mid lane and that one time where I said you should have gone up and left, that's definitely something to consider, is, like, just keeping the minimal amount of people that can deal damage to you in range as possible.
Hey, look, I acknowledge that maybe Jaina would have been a better mage next time. So meta.
Yeah, dude, Jaina is so good as a climb character. Like, if you're looking for, like, quintessential climb characters, wave clear, plays good in team fights, because those heroes are almost always good in draft.
So, how about, I don't know if you still have the list of heroes, but, like, who else might fit that bill in terms of, like, when we were talking
general
about
heroes to
Gul'dan.
learn for climbing are my top ones by far are Jaina Junkrat. Okay.
I don't think I've ever played
Junkrat feels very awkward at first, but is super easy once you understand it. The difficulties of Junkrat are not mechanical. The difficulties of Junkrat are about understanding. Once you understand how Junkrat is supposed to be played, you can play him at a very high level, even if you don't have a lot of specific skill. It's a lot of, like, what makes the difference between, like, a decent Junkrat, like a bad Junkrat, and, like, a good Junkrat is just more about the understanding the theory of Junkrat rather than, like, outright skill. Play someone who does a lot of damage and doesn't die, XD. So anyway, like, I would say Jaina Junkrat. Those heroes are super good in fights, do a ton of wave clear, and are almost never banned. I personally, for me, Hanzo is an amazing climb hero whenever I'm like leveling a Smurf or.
How do you build him?
That really depends. I was gonna go into this just a little bit more. I would say for almost the entire majority of the population, like almost everybody in the population, Hanzo is not that great of a climb hero.
Okay.
because you need like specific skill at Hanzo to be good at him. Like, but if you are good at Hanzo, he's amazing as a climb hero. Because he can have a lot of wave clear and be really good in fights, but you need to have Hanzo skill. So I would say, if you're just looking for something that'll be good for you, probably not a great idea. So anyway, Jaina and Junkrat, big ones to learn, in my opinion. Junkrat, I know Paradox has a pretty good video on him. I haven't seen it in like a while, so I don't know how much of like the
On
entire...
Junkrat?
Yeah. I don't know how much of the entire playstyle it encapsulates, but I know it has some good stuff, like weaving auto attacks in between Qs. Let's see here. Jaina Junkrat are the two big ones by far. Sylvanas is probably my next one. I would say if you could only have 3 ranged DPS characters in your climbing arsenal, it should be those 3.
Jaina, Junkrat, Sylvanas.
Yeah. Those 3 will take you very, very far. While also being rather easy to play. Sylv isn't the easiest to play. The other 2 are very, very easy. But that just in general
Jaina, I
doesn't take
definitely
you
like
far.
the most.
And keep in mind, that's not like restrictive. Like if you want to climb
No.
with like Gul'dan, Phoenix, Greymane, you totally can. You know, like or whatever. Like
I was thinking
just, I think
Greymane
those
would
will
be
make it
good.
the easiest. Okay.
So yeah, I can try to learn Junkrat or Sylvanas.
Okay. And I can always help you out with that later in another session.
Sure.
Okay. Is there anything else we should talk about before we call it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I guess just in general, like, again, I've never done anything like this, so like,
I get you. I get you.
how what's the forecast? Like, how is it looking? Like, and again, I know a lot of these type of ranked games are just really down to like the raw number of games that you're playing,
Hmm.
and so I can typically only play like 300 games a season.
That's more than enough to climb, my guy. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I've climbed harder than that. I've climbed really hard playing fewer games than that per season. I think if you take all this stuff into account, you'll definitely climb.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool, man. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. Anytime. You want to do another one of these later? I got you. All right.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get some other assassin games in.
Hell yeah, my guy. I look forward to seeing your progress.
Sounds good. Well, thanks again for taking the time.
For sure.
It's
man.
probably late where you are. East Coast?
It's I'm in Central. It's 1:16, but
Okay.
I'm ready for bed.
Sweet.
Okay.
Cool. Well, have a great night. Thanks again.
Yeah, you too, man.
Bye,
It was
stream.
fun. Okay, guys. So I was gonna stick around for a bit, maybe play a game or talk, but I feel like really unwell. Like all of a sudden, like over like the past like minute or two, all of a sudden, like I don't know, my stomach's killing me. I don't know. I really need to get off like right now. So we're just gonna go ahead and host Treebeard. Sorry, I couldn't stick around a little longer. Shut up, Piman, you sound fine. We're gonna go ahead and host Treebeard, and we're gonna call it a night. Hope you all have a fantastic time, and I'll see you all later.